For months, fans had been whispering. Something was off. The smiles were still there on red carpets, the perfect photos were still being posted on social media, but those who knew Yaman well could tell, behind that confident gaze, there was tension. A silence that wasn't natural. And when he finally broke that silence, the world really did stop to listen. In his most emotional and unexpected interview yet, Yaman didn't hold back. He didn't name names directly, but his words cut deep. "She disrespected both me and Demet," he said, his voice low, steady, almost trembling at certain moments. "And that's something I can't forget." It was the first time he had spoken so openly since all the rumors began, since the mysterious events that drove a wedge not only between him and Demet Özdemir, but also between him and someone else who had been very close to both of them. The line between professional and personal had blurred long ago. But this time it wasn't about love or jealousy. It was about loyalty. About respect. Sources close to the actor revealed that things had been building up for weeks. "He was trying to stay calm," said one insider. "But when he saw what she did, something involving Demet, it crossed a line." For Can, loyalty means everything. The Turkish heartthrob, known worldwide for his charisma and discipline, had always avoided public confrontations. But this time it was different. He felt betrayed, the insider added. Not just as a man, but as someone who values sincerity. He thought she understood him, but she used their private bond for attention. Fans immediately began to speculate. Was he talking about someone from his inner circle? A collaborator? A friend? Or perhaps, someone who had been romantically linked to him in the past, someone who tried to control his image and distance him from Demet. Whatever the case, the words "she disrespected both me and Demet" became the headline that dominated every gossip site across Italy, Turkey, and beyond. Demet's fans were shocked. Can's supporters rushed to defend him. Even those who had once criticized their connection started rethinking everything. Because one thing was clear, something serious had happened behind the scenes, and Yaman was done staying silent. After the shocking statement spread online, fans were desperate to understand what exactly Yaman was referring to. "She disrespected both me and Demet," those words echoed like thunder across every entertainment site, every gossip forum, every fan page. But who was she? And what had she done? People close to the actor began to piece the story together. It reportedly started during a project that Can had been working on abroad, a high-profile campaign that involved several well-known figures from the entertainment industry. At first, everything seemed professional, even friendly. But slowly, something shifted. One of the women involved in the campaign began crossing boundaries. She would speak about Demet in a mocking tone, referring to the past between them as a cute marketing phase. For Can, those words were poison. He had always protected Demet's name, even when tabloids twisted their story, even when fans speculated about their private lives. He never allowed anyone to use her for publicity. So when he heard someone close to him ridicule that bond, it was personal. He felt it was not only disrespectful to Demet, one journalist said, but also to the truth of what they had shared, the sincerity of their connection. Things escalated when that same woman, according to insiders, leaked a private photo from an event, a picture that Can had never approved for release. In that image, the implication was that he had moved on completely and erased Demet from his life. The caption that followed was even more suggestive. "New chapter, new heart." When the post went viral, Can reportedly confronted her directly. "You crossed the line," he told her in private. "You don't get to use my story, or hers, for attention." But instead of apologizing, she reportedly laughed. "Relax, it's just PR," she said. That was the moment the respect was lost. From that day, people noticed a change in Can. He became more distant, more selective with his words, more careful with who surrounded him. He stopped liking certain posts, avoided certain interviews, and stayed away from the kind of events where he might run into her again. Meanwhile, Demet Özdemir, though silent publicly, had reportedly heard what happened. Friends close to her say she wasn't surprised. Demet always said that fame attracts people who want to manipulate stories, one insider shared. But she was proud that Can didn't stay silent this time. She said, "At least now, he's defending what was real." Behind closed doors, that single moment of defiance, Can standing up and saying enough, marked a turning point. It wasn't just about an argument. It was about reclaiming his own truth. As the headlines exploded, Yaman withdrew. He didn't post for days, no gym photos, no set updates, no cryptic quotes. For someone as active as him, that silence was louder than any statement. The world waited for his next move, and when it came, it wasn't through words, but through action. He was spotted in Rome, attending a closed-door meeting with his management team. Reporters camped outside the building for hours, hoping for a glimpse. When he finally emerged, dressed in all black, sunglasses hiding his eyes, his expression said everything. Calm on the surface, but inside, burning with quiet fury. One Italian journalist later revealed what allegedly happened inside that meeting. He told his team he was done being the target of other people's narratives, she wrote. He said he'd rather lose followers than lose self-respect. Those who were present described a moment of raw honesty, the kind of truth that only surfaces when someone reaches their limit. He's tired, one insider admitted. He's tired of people turning his past with Demet into a game. He never denied that they shared something beautiful. But every time he tries to move forward, someone uses it against him. That's why this last incident hit so hard, because it mocked something sacred. Meanwhile, Demet Özdemir, who had been quiet since the controversy erupted, posted a single message on her Instagram story. It was short, simple, but powerful. Some things don't need defending. They speak for themselves. Fans immediately connected the dots. Was it a response to Can's words? Was it support? Or was it her way of reminding everyone that their bond, whatever form it took, was beyond gossip? The Turkish press tried to chase her down for a comment, but Demet refused interviews. Those close to her said she didn't want to add fuel to the fire. She respects him, one of her friends told a local magazine. Even when they had their differences, she never disrespected him in public. She wants peace, not drama. Yet behind that peace, there was pain. People who saw Demet on set that week said she seemed distant, as if lost in thought. Between takes, she would stare at her phone, scroll, and sigh. No one knew what message she was reading, or who it was from. But one crew member swore he saw her smile faintly for a second, as if reading something that meant more than words could say. And then, 2 days later, Can posted again, a black and white photo of him looking away from the camera, with a single caption, "Respect isn't given. It's earned." The internet erupted again. Thousands of comments poured in, half defending him, half accusing him of stirring drama. But those who understood, truly understood, saw something deeper. This wasn't about scandal. It was about a man drawing a line. Protecting the truth of a story that had already been distorted too many times. Days turned into weeks, yet the tension around Yaman's revelation refused to fade. Every interview, every paparazzi shot, every subtle Instagram post became part of the same puzzle. Who was she, and what really happened between Can, Demet, and the mysterious figure who disrespected them both? In the middle of that chaos, one unexpected thing began to happen. The world started remembering what Can and Demet had once been. Old videos resurfaced, their behind-the-scenes laughter, the way they looked at each other on set, the tiny gestures that fans never forgot. Suddenly, social media was flooded with clips captioned "They were real" and "Respect is eternal." For the first time in years, the narrative shifted. This wasn't about gossip anymore. It was about loyalty, truth, and the kind of connection that fame can't destroy. According to insiders close to Can, his decision to speak out wasn't spontaneous. He had wrestled with it for months. He didn't want to reopen old wounds, one friend said. But when he saw her, the same person who once acted like she supported him, twisting his history for her own gain, it broke something inside him. He felt he had to speak, not just for himself, but for Demet too. And in a way, that single sentence, "She disrespected both me and Demet," became more than a statement. It became a declaration of boundaries. It said, "I will protect what was real. I will not allow it to be mocked." While tabloids continued speculating about who the woman might be, Ken himself avoided adding more fuel. In one quiet Instagram live, he finally addressed his fans directly. Sometimes silence is respect. But sometimes, silence becomes complicity. "I chose to speak because I won't let lies define my story anymore." His tone was steady, mature, the voice of someone who had learned to balance passion with wisdom. And then, just before ending the stream, he added something that no one expected: "Demet deserves respect. Always." The reaction was instant. Fans flooded Twitter with heart emojis and crying faces. The Turkish press called it a gentleman's move. Even in Italy, where Can's career has skyrocketed, headlines read, "He still protects her, even now." Behind the scenes, there were whispers that Demet saw the live stream that same night. She didn't say anything at first, one of her colleagues revealed. But after a few minutes, she just smiled. A quiet, knowing smile. The next morning, Demet posted a single black heart emoji on her Instagram story, no caption, no explanation. But everyone knew. It wasn't anger. It wasn't nostalgia. It was respect, the same word that had reignited this entire storm. And so, the story that began with betrayal ended with something purer. Two people, shaped by love, pain, and time, finding a moment of understanding again, not as lovers, not as enemies, but as two souls who had once shared something worth defending. In the end, Can's words echoed far beyond the scandal. Respect isn't given. It's earned. And maybe that was the real message all along, that even in a world obsessed with headlines, true respect and true connection never fade.